Speaking of bad, this is where the Blair Witch Project comes in. I don't like the Blair Witch Project. Get over it.
They change it up a tiny bit, but it all just fucking dies at the end. It genuinely just is very sad. I had lots of high hopes for this movie, and maybe that's why I'm just so angry and disappointed, because
in a film that combines the pulse-pounding excitement of backpacking in Maryland with the breathtaking suspense of amateur film production logistics.
How are we going to get the data across? How are we going to get the data across then? How are we going to get the data across?
No one cares.
The movie was god-awful, and I don't know, I lost 2 hours of my life because I'm not going to get it back.
See, this movie is an eyesore. It is hard to watch. It is not very interesting, and you're just annoyed by these characters by the end of the movie. Be honest, do any of you actually like the Blair Witch Project?
The search of the 3 missing Montgomery College students continues in Frederick County tonight.
Do you believe the occult may be involved in the disappearance of your son?
Today we are going to get a little bit more antagonistic than we normally do. Because we're putting up our mitts, and we're gonna defend a movie that we all love, that the vast majority of the horror world doesn't like, I guess.
And I want to say, Adam, I'm really happy that we're doing this episode, because this is a movie that I've absolutely loved ever since it was released. I saw this in theaters, fell in love with it, and the fact that everybody shits on this movie is ridiculous to me, because as far as like sequels to the Blair Witch go, I feel that Book of Shadows like did it so right. Like, how are you going to recreate the Blair Witch Project? You can't. So you make another movie.
Right. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but we're not here to talk about the Book of Shadows.
What the fuck are we talking about?
We're talking about the Blair Witch, the first one.
The Blair Witch Project from 1999.
1999.
Who the fuck hates the Blair Witch Project?
Most people these days, as it turns out, if you're part of a horror group online, on Facebook, what have you,
you're going to get that it's boring, nothing happens, wandering in the woods, like they have no respect for tension build and something other than jump scares, which is where I feel this movie excels.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, if you ever want to get a bunch of horror fans in a frenzy, just bring up the Blair Witch Project. That's all you have to do. And they'll start. Forks and the torches will be at your door momentarily. What were your experiences? What were the first times you watched this movie? Because I have a sneaking suspicion people's appreciation for this film lies within
when and where they saw
when and where. Yeah.
I happened to be visiting my grandmother who lived in Ottawa. Her theater, like the local theater, was having a early screening. Like, I saw this movie like a week or two before it was actually scheduled to come out. You know, because I was 16 years old at the time. I fucking loved horror. And I just knew that this was like supposed to be the scariest thing ever. It was this documentary about a witch and crazy shit happens. And it was marketed as this true story. And this is 1999. I didn't have fucking TikTok or Instagram Reels to spoil it for me. I went in thinking this was legit. And this movie scared the shit out of me. And I remember going onto IMDb was around in 1999, and it was showing, you know, these people were missing, and like everything justified. This was the greatest con since the 100%. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Mm-hmm. And there was a solid like 2 weeks before the movie finally released that I absolutely believed I just watched these people
The
die.
death of these people, exactly. I saw it about within the first week or two that it came out in the theaters. I think we sort of knew maybe it wasn't real, but we weren't 100% sure. So we went in with that mindset with my best friend at the time, and we had a camping trip planned for 2 weeks later. And when the movie ended, he says, "I'm not going camping." Not going camping again. And we had to go to Toys R Us and play with the toys for a while so he'd get his head right when he got out of there.
This is a movie-going experience that can never be duplicated. And that's part of the reason why I think that most detractors of this film, I can't imagine they saw it in the theater and experienced that buzz. Because, I mean, this was the early days of the internet. It's 2025 and still people believe everything they read online. Back in 1999, if it was online, it was church, you know? Right. And, I mean, there's a whole website devoted to these guys, their disappearance.
Their disappearance, exactly.
Yeah. It was almost like, you know, unsolved mysteries. I know that when I sat in the theater, at least half of the patrons in the theater with me thought that what they were seeing was real. Like you could cut the tension with a knife.
Right.
It was such an amazing theatrical experience because it was so grounded and wasn't, you know, monsters flying out everywhere and arms ripped. That's part of the reason that it kind of felt more real to me.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, my imagination is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And they let you use your imagination through this movie to scare yourself, which I was brilliant at.
Just to touch on the initial marketing for this movie too, though, like, let's not forget too, there was a 45-minute mockumentary.
The 3 missing Montgomery College students continues in Frederick County tonight as dozens of volunteers and state officials join local forces in what has now become a full-scale search of the Black Hills area.
Local officials, combined with over 100 search volunteers, have failed to come up with any signs of the 3 missing filmmakers. Montgomery College film students Heather Donahue, Michael Williams, and Joshua Leonard were reportedly shooting a school project about a local myth called the Blair Witch. At this time, their whereabouts are still unknown.
Yes,
that was also released.
That came out first. Yes.
Yeah, called Curse of the Blair Witch.
I've seen it.
Again, talked about the 3 missing students and went into, sorry, his name escapes me. Who is the dude that had the house?
Rustin Parr.
Rustin Parr, like it went into his whole backstory.
I heard voices in my head. What kind of voices? A woman.
So this only added fuel to the fire.
I remember sitting in the theater and the people around me thought that they were witnessing supernatural events. Like we have proof that the supernatural exists, and we're all watching.
We're all witnessing it
now.
right here.
Like,
but is that
amazing?
See, to me though, that's the best part of the movie. Is it supernatural?
Well, I guess we don't know for sure.
You never find out a whole lot of
it could have just been Rustin Parr the whole time.
From what I understand, what he was executed.
Or sorry, he died. He executed. Yeah, but I mean, it could have just been somebody else in the house. Like
freaking Maryland, man. And you never know what you're going to find in the backwoods of Maryland.
What are those serial killers called that duplicate other killers?
Copycat.
Yeah, it could have been copycat killer.
Give you just enough to kind of piece your own story together,
right? But they leave it up to you to determine what you really think happened at the end, and
it's deliberately vague. Well, I mean, let's talk about that. What do you think happened at the end?
I think they're all dead, 100%.
I think they were murdered by a real person, though.
Okay, so you don't think it was supernatural
at all? I don't think it was supernatural.
And what was Mike just doing, standing in the corner then?
Because the killer made him do it.
Well, I mean, Heather was screaming her ass off, and he wasn't moving a muscle or
reacting in any way. Plus, Josh's voice kept coming from all these different. Like first he's upstairs, then he's downstairs.
Where is he? Where are you?
There was a whole lot of,
Yeah. I mean, I know a popular theory was that it was actually like Mike and Josh were pulling like a Scream situation where they were like teaming up
Trying to murder this bitch.
trying to murder Heather, which honestly,
How are we going to get the data across? How are we going to get the data across then? How are we going to get the data across?
No one cares.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it was always creepier though. Like it could be Josh as the killer. But I mean, there's nothing to set up a couple of recorders to play a voice up and down, up and down.
Mm.
And the thought of somebody telling Mike, like, you face this corner, and if you turn around, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah.
To me, that, like, when I saw it, that was my mindset when I saw the ending to this movie. When Heather runs down and sees Mike, I was fully convinced. I wasn't watching something because, again, I thought this was real.
And it's weird. I didn't even feel I needed to give it a specific, like, I was just like, oh, they fucked.
It's like I knew it had something to do with Rustin Parr, and because when he was killing the kids, he always made one stand in the corner. Right. And I knew Rustin Parr had something to do with the Blair Witch, and that was about as far as my thinking process.
Might be the same person. The way it was shot was very cool in the sense that they didn't have a script, and the three actors didn't get the same notes, so they were out there camping and people would leave them weird notes letting them know what their character's going to do next, and the other two not having any idea. You know, the thing with the map, they had no idea. So all of these
when Mike throws the map away.
I kicked the... I'm sorry, it's fucked up. It's fucked up, but I kicked that fucking map into the creek yesterday. It was useless. I kicked that fucker into the creek. Wow! Mike. Holy shit.
I really fucking hope he's kidding.
Right. Just pisses me off. And they would really come and shake their tents at night. So they were, I thought it was really cool to convey. I don't even know, were they that good of actors or were they just like exhausted and terrified?
Yeah.
I also
think
find
it's a little
it
from column A, a little from column B.
No, from column A, yeah. So I also find it interesting that the actress Heather Donahue has changed her name legally now to Ray Hance, R-E-I, last name Hance, because she said it was the dumbest mistake she ever made, letting them use her real name in the film. It's just basically...
Yeah, I know Josh, the actor, I can't remember his last name, but he's been in a few horror films.
He was in Hatchet, I know.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him in that.
Yeah, we talked about that in our Hatchet episode.
Right.
Yeah.
That nobody watched.
Lowest episode to date.
Yeah, out of the three of them, honestly, I thought that Heather was the one that could have had a career. I thought she was really good in this movie. Her snotty,
the snot bubble
monologue to the camera, though. I mean, is
one of the greatest acting. I mean, that was amazing.
Really was, yeah. Like I was almost kind of surprised she wasn't nominated for something.
Like when they got the package with parts of Josh in it.
Yeah.
That freaked me out, and to this day, I've been trying to figure out what's in there.
Teeth.
Parts of Josh. So it's teeth, but it also looks like his tongue.
No, it's just teeth.
Tongue. It's teeth, tongue, and hair.
All I kept thinking was rewinding, like, what is it?
Yeah, it was something gross and wet. I knew that at the time.
Yeah, and red and gross and wet.
Right. Yeah.
So him screaming in the distance, and then them finding that was very effective filmmaking to me.
Actors are always trying to seem believable, but there's a different layer to it when it's found footage, because you have to kind of like,
because they're not supposed to be acting,
right?
They're
so you're
supposed
like
to be filming
underplaying everything, yeah. And I think part of the reason why this movie was able to go under the radar is something that like might have actually happened. They kind of caught lightning in a bottle a little bit with like some of the residents they interview in the beginning of the movie. There was that Mary Brown in the very beginning.
Creepy old lady.
The creepy old lady who was not an actor. She was just
a creepy old lady that lives there.
that lives there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they struck gold with her because I remember thinking, oh, she's gonna show up again. Like she's gonna show up like naked by a tree. Or something in one of these scenes, and like you never
Hereditary bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Even like the scene where like they're interviewing people, and the mother's holding the child.
Yes.
And the child keeps
the kid's going, no, no, no.
Yeah, kids just do that. But
right
in the frame, in framing the scene, it definitely felt like
realistic as fuck.
Yeah, like she.
And the chances are they probably just stopped somebody on the street and said, "Hey, want to do this?"
Well, that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, that's what.
None of these people were actors.
One of the only other things I'll say is like one of my favorite scenes in the movie is just when they're doing shots in the hotel room, like they're just like busting each other's balls and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I'm in the back of my mind, I'm always just like, this was the first time they all met each other,
right?
Getting drunk and getting high. I'm like, was there?
It tracks.
Was there a threesome? Did the threesome happen?
No, the threesome didn't happen.
No,
Josh had a girlfriend.
Oh yeah, okay.
She was going to come find him.
I did post something in a Facebook group that we're all part of, just asking people what their general thoughts of the movie were, knowing that we were going to get a certain kind of backlash, but that's kind of what we wanted. So I'm just going to, I don't know. I guess I'll just read some of the comments that I've selected, and you guys can, I guess, respond accordingly. Like Christopher Pickup. Do you think that's his real name? Probably not.
No, maybe just say their first names.
All right. Christopher said.
Christopher P.
Yeah, Christopher P. said, one of the most overrated films of all times. Admittedly, it was one of, if not the first found footage film, but all those that came after were annoying rubbish too.
See, that's what I mean. There's something that I guarantee this person's probably a lot younger than me, first of all. I feel like if it doesn't have jump scares, people are just not interested. It's not scary.
First thing I'd want to ask him is, did he see it in the theater? And I guess that goes along with how old he is, because if he's not sort of in our age bracket, then
the first time born in the 2000s.
Right. He probably watched it on some streaming service. And
that loses something because you got your phone in your hand and you're not.
Yeah. And here's the thing, though. The Blair Witch Project, and I can shut this argument down right now. The Blair Witch Project is still very effective, even if you're watching it on like a 40-inch television.
Mm-hmm.
But what you need to do, like Abby said, you got your phone. You can't watch this at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
No, it's got to be at night with the lights out. And
lights out, no distractions, just you and the Blair Witch Project. No friends to riff on it with. You can have friends with you. Yeah. You all got to shut the fuck up.
You got to be able to be willing to suspend disbelief too. Mm-hmm. Like really get invested in it. Like for example, Martin Galvin, Martin G says, annoying, and there are no witches in it. Well, Martin.
Well, Martin.
Let me retort.
You can't call him that. I'm sorry.
I think part of the reason this movie works so well is that there isn't a quote unquote witch in it. There's the illusion of a witch, or there may or may not be a witch. I'm glad that they didn't have some spooky monster jump out at you at the end of this movie.
It would have cheapened it.
Yeah,
that's a different movie. Now, granted, I love a good monster movie. This wasn't that movie.
Right. I don't want to just flat out insult people that don't like this movie, but do you think
I do, Martin? You're fucking stupid.
You are made of stupid.
Do you think a person's, and this is the part, do you think a person's capability to imagine, or their whether they have a good imagination or not, plays a part into whether or not they like a movie like this? Because like Abby, like you said, you can imagine a lot of fucked up things.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a feeling
Guarantee
that
these people have never really enjoyed reading the book.
right. Well, I just think like there are some people that just take everything at face value, and they can't come up with like nightmare fuel, like perhaps
And
we
the
or other
unknown is
people.
what makes it scary. Because you throw a witch in there, well, now we're going to be picking apart a costume and this and that. This is just people's fear.
This movie is like the reason you stay up an extra hour every night because you're thinking all those thoughts you shouldn't be thinking that just cause existential dread.
Mm-hmm.
This is the movie.
This is the movie.
Right. You know what else this movie is? It's like when you wake up at 3 a.m.
Knowing someone's watching
you, and you open your eyes, and your eyes are just like adjusting to the little light in the room, and you see something that looks like a face
Is
or a
that a
figure.
small Victorian child in my corner or my dresser wearing my clothes again?
But then, as your eyes get more adjusted, it's just like laundry or a coat on the chair or something. But in that moment, it's scary as hell. Jeff W. says, I couldn't believe how bad this film was after all the hype. I was so disappointed leaving the theater. So he did see it in the theater.
Okay.
But he waited for. He heard the hype. I don't know. I think I went in not knowing any hype.
Yeah, and then he says literally nothing happens. I would disagree with that, but his statement kind of goes along with this other guy, Eddie Dockery, who says, a summary of the story: bundle of sticks, pile of rocks, bundle of sticks, basement, credits. There, I saved you in an hour and a half of jack shit happening. And it's like, I mean, on paper, that's true, but there's nuance, you know.
They probably don't like Alfred Hitchcock either.
Being lost in the woods is scary.
Yeah.
And the thought of being lost in the woods where something may or may not be stalking you is scary. So, you know, just those kind of brass tacks descriptions are leaving out a lot of the tension and suspense that exists in this movie.
And like Ryan said, even if it's not a witch, something is shaking their tent at night. Something is tormenting them. Something is leaving things for them to see. So whether or not it's human, which as Ryan said, could make it scarier, you know, crazy's crazy. So
the way they break down, and this infuriates me too, so many times, like people, they're like, oh, you know, sticks, stones, there's a house at the end. You could do that with literally any fucking movie. Like I could take Speed right now. Problems in an elevator. Great. Fix elevator problem. Now bus goes fast. Bus goes faster because there is big hole in ground. Bus slows down but has to go fast again. People get off bus and get on subway. Subway goes fast. Movie's over. Fuck off.
Right. Fuck off.
Oh.
Evan Hex Weathers just says queef.
Oh.
That is a vaginal fart.
Yeah, it's, you know, I wasn't sure how to respond to that, but that's
Hurry up! I'm coming! My boots aren't laced. Oh my god, what the fuck is that? Dude, what the fuck is that?
It's descriptive?
It is. Patrick K. It sucked. Bored to tears. Made me nauseous with all the jerky camera work.
Okay, I give people that. I understand that.
That's a fair argument.
The camera work?
Yes.
Well, any camera work on shaky cam, I mean, they call it shaky cam for a reason. Oh,
Patrick K., congratulations on bringing up the only rational complaint far.
Thus far.
Okay, well, good for you, smarty pants. Here's a fucking gold star.
Because, yes, I absolutely get it. Shaky cam can be an issue, and this movie is like found footage films moving forward literally took that as a note and tried to minimize the shaky cam.
But I would argue that one of the details that made this feel genuine, because if somebody's chasing you, you're not going to turn around and make sure you got the greatest shot and
agreed.
Make sure that's perfect composition and, you know, all that shit.
It adds
you're
to
going to
the
just be like,
But
run
also
away.
put the fucking camera down.
Jacob F. says, following 90s slasher sequelitis, The Blair Witch Project furthers solid horror for a long time by inviting a wave of low effort, low budget, based on a true story found footage films into the mix. To this day, if I see based on a true story, I'm immediately uninterested.
Oh, see, exactly the opposite for me, sir.
Me too.
I see based on a true story and I am doubly as interested.
What you are about to see is inspired by true events. According to the FBI, there are an estimated 1.4 million violent crimes in America each year.
I'm going to agree with this person.
Really?
Not so much for their hatred for the movie, but the fact that, like a lot of people saw dollar signs because of the Blair Witch Project, and we got a lot of shitty found footage films.
Yeah.
I can see this argument. I don't think it's a detraction to the film.
No.
But I can absolutely,
this person is saying, I see based on a true story, I'm out.
No, I
It
agree.
loses me there.
I tend to agree.
Really?
I mean, it's not the first movie to do that, though.
The film which you are about to see is an account of the tragedy which befell a group of 5 youths. In particular, Sally Hardesty and her invalid brother, Franklin. Discovery of one of the most bizarre crimes in the annals of American history. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Like Matt G says, it's complete shit. That's circle. Don't you love Facebook commenters?
Mm-hmm.
It's complete shit that's circle jerked by pretentious morons who only care about things that are done first rather than done well.
Wow.
Notice how this is the one found footage film no one ever shuts up about. Point proven. And I only highlighted this comment to do one particular thing. Fuck you, Matt G.
Who's an edgy boy?
You're an edgy boy. You're gonna go listen to some MCR and cut your freaking upper arm.
Such an edgy
so that
boy.
mommy and daddy don't see the scars.
Lily W. She says, I know many people weren't born or old enough to watch it back in 1999, but I am so glad I got to watch it back then when I was 15 to fully appreciate the movie, because we didn't have social media to check out any information. Many of us and myself believed it was real found footage of missing people. So watching it back then is a completely different experience to watching it knowing it's fake. The marketing for the movie made it even more believable. It's not scary watching it now, but it scares me back then. Found footage is my favorite subgenre of horror. Even though it wasn't the first found footage movie, it made me fall in love with found footage.
So
I agree.
Lily and me are, like I said, I was 16. So like two peas of the same pot. Like this movie was a fucking experience for me.
Yeah.
I still never got to go camping.
This is kind of cool. Cindy S says, I was a projectionist when this movie came out. I would sit up in the booth and watch all the reactions. It was amazing how many people believed it was real.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I saw it the perfect situation when it first came out, as we've mentioned many times. The fact that my friend got so scared that we had to go to Toys R Us afterwards and play with the toys to just
I love that.
Get that out of our head. And this was a grown-ass man. I'm a fan of this movie. I really feel like this goes back to the discussion Ryan brought up separately, that did you ever wish you could see a movie again for the first time?
Mm-hmm.
This would be one of those on my list because you just have such an experience if done correctly. So I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 random screaming people in the woods that don't have a tongue anymore because it's now in a package at your tent.
Holy shit. It's a house.
Out of 5.
I fucking love this movie. There's only 3 movies in this franchise, and in my opinion, all 3 of them are solid horror films. And this one is the best, but I do love part 2. I absolutely was completely, this movie completely absorbed me into the world that it created. I absolutely believed it was real, and this movie scared the shit out of me. I'm giving this 5 out of 5.
Nice.
Awkward close-ups into bags of marshmallows.
Hey, you weasel. Marshmallow.
Marshmallow.
I think your enjoyment and appreciation of this movie rests solely on if you saw it in the theater or not. If you were around back in 1999 and were wrapped up in that hype and were sitting in a theater next to people that thought they were possibly seeing the first proof of supernatural elements actually on film in front of their face for the first time. It was quite an experience. It really was. And even now, I mean, you know, I'll watch it every now and again, and I still think it holds up. Not quite. I mean, it doesn't have that magic of. I mean, going to the theater and thinking that it was real. That's almost like, you know, like going to bed Christmas Eve and you think Santa's real. Like nothing is going to replicate that ever again. But I still, every time I watch it, I remember how I felt, and it's always a really fun watch. And it's just a really good. It's a good, competently made movie. I'm gonna go 4 out of 5. Mike peeing in the corner.
What y'all I got pissed.
Breath test? I'm serious, what y'all
Relieving himself in the corner, and everyone thinks he's creepy when he really
That's the end of the movie.
when he really just had to go. All right.
You know the deal. If you want to write to us, you can write to us at hormonalwerewolves@gmail.com. Do us a favor, hit the like, hit the subscribe button on the YouTube show. You can find us in our group on Facebook, Hormonal Werewolves, the number 3, on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Facebook. Just find us, but like us, please.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. And hey, if you disagree with our opinions and want to tell us about it, feel free to let us know in the comments.
I will fight you.
And Ryan will drive to your house. And he will drive like 14 hours in the night.
Just to go for pizza.
I'll fucking do it.
Yeah. All right. All right. Bye.
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 Pew, pew, pew.
Full moon rising, we're feeling alive. Hormones raging, we're ready to thrive. We're watching movies, bad to the bone. Screaming at screens all alone. We're wolves in the dark, bad cinema delight. First getting bigger with every fright. Good, bad, or